Have you ever looked at your paycheck, seen a pretty good number, and then just wondered, so why do I feel so broke all the time? It is one of the most frustrating feelings out there. So today, let's finally get to the bottom of it and uncover the truth about what's really happening with your money.
I mean, does this question right here just hit a little too close to home? You're bringing in a solid salary. Maybe you've even crossed that six-figure mark. But when the end of the month rolls around, you're still watching that bank account, just waiting for the next deposit.
And I really need you to hear this. If that's your reality, you are so far from alone. Seriously, this isn't some sign that you're bad with money. It's actually a sign that you're up against a hidden problem, one that trips up millions of people, even the highest earners.
Okay, so to get rid of this feeling for good, we have to start by understanding the huge difference between the money you earn and how that money actually moves through your life.
So you've got two things going on. On one side, there's your income. Think of that as the number on your contract, what you make in a month or in a year. It's a static number. But on the other side, you've got cash flow. And that is totally dynamic. It's the real-time movement, the ins and outs. You could say income is your potential, but cash flow is your reality.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? A high income is, of course, a fantastic start. But real financial stability, that comes from mastering how you manage the flow of that money.
All right, so what's the real villain in this story? What's causing all this stress? Well, it all comes down to something we can call the invisible timing gap.
This visual right here explains it perfectly. Your income usually shows up in these big, happy chunks, right? Those are your paydays. But your expenses, we're talking rent, groceries, bills, even your morning coffee, they don't wait. They flow out constantly, every single day. And that gap, the space between the big inflow and the steady outflow, yeah, that's pretty much where all the financial stress is born.
And this is the most important thing to get. You might think you have a money problem, that you just need to earn more. But most of the time, what you really have is a timing problem. It's that simple. Your bills are just due before the money to pay them has shown up yet.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but I have a budget. I track everything. Why isn't it working? Well, it turns out the traditional way we think about budgeting has a major flaw when it comes to fixing this particular problem.
See, most budgets are backward-looking. They're really good at telling you where your money went last month, and honestly, that usually just makes you feel guilty and tired of sorting transactions. They completely miss the timing of your bills. And here's the kicker. They don't give you a heads up about a cash crunch that's coming next week.
But here is the good news. You can absolutely fix this. And it's not about making more money or pinching every single penny. It's about putting a few simple systems in place to go from feeling stressed and reactive to feeling confident and proactive.
It really just boils down to these three things. First, you build a buffer. Second, you plan your flows. And third, you make sure to pay yourself first. Let's quickly walk through what each of these really means. The buffer is your secret weapon, for real. Think of it like a power bank for your finances. It's a reserve of cash. The goal is about 1 month's worth of your expenses that creates a cushion. With a buffer, you're using last month's income to pay this month's bills. And just like that, the stress is gone. It doesn't matter if rent is due on the 1st and you get paid on the 5th. You're always a step ahead.
Next up, planning your flows. This just means you stop looking in the rearview mirror and you start looking ahead. You grab a simple calendar and you just map out when money is coming in and when it has to go out. Suddenly, you can spot a potential tight spot weeks in advance and make a plan. The whole conversation in your head shifts from a guilty, "Where did my money go?" to an empowering, "Okay, what does my money need to do for me next?"
And that leads us right into the third system, which is built on this really powerful idea. So many of us try to save what's left over after we spend. But what if you flipped that? What if you spent what was left over after you save? That's the whole pay yourself first idea. The second you get paid, before you do anything else, you automatically move money to your savings or your buffer. You just treat it like it's your most important bill, because it is.
When you get these three systems working together, the buffer, the forward-looking plan, and paying yourself first, something pretty amazing starts to happen. That constant, low-level hum of anxiety about money, it just starts to fade away.
And that's when you realize the real goal was never just about getting a bigger paycheck. It was about clarity. It was about knowing with 100% confidence that you have a job for every single dollar long before it even hits your account.
I just love this line because it sums up the entire journey perfectly. When you have clarity about your cash flow, you finally feel calm. When you master the timing of it all, you get control. And that control, well, that's what real financial freedom feels like.
So just remember, you don't have to live with that paycheck-to-paycheck stress, no matter how good your income is. By building a system that gives you clarity and control, you can finally feel secure. So if you're ready to make that change and you want to stop feeling broke between paychecks, you can start your journey right inside the Square Money app.